Hey, Elizabeth Salazar here. And today I wanted to share with you a question that I've been asking my clients that I know that you can benefit from too. How do I know? Because I know how the human brain works. Yeah. Which is so fun. I think that's my favorite thing about mindset was learning that one thing. So here's what it is. What could you make it mean? This is the question that I have my clients ask themselves. Because here's what happens. They come to me and they say, "Oh, this consult is booked." Or "I just signed a new client." Or "I just signed 2 new clients." Or, right, like it could be any of these things. But this amazing thing happens. And here's what our brain does on default. It's like, yeah, okay, that's nice. Let me tell you everything else. Has this happened? Seriously, I can't even tell you how many times with my own coach, I forget to tell her the amazing things that have happened until the very end. And it's because our brains are just, they don't dwell on it. But the key, right, like what I teach coaches how to do is to create the consistency of that first $50,000. Because once you have it the first time, you just keep repeating it. And one of just the leanings of our brain is to default into the negative. Like, yeah, but this didn't work, or I'm not seeing this result over here, or this is kind of sucking, right? And we feel intense emotion inside of that truth. But what I want to encourage you today in this just quick tip is to ask yourself the question when you have something fantastic happening. And I'm just going to go through the list and add some more, right? It's a consult booking. It's somebody hiring you. It's someone's hiring you. It's someone giving you a compliment on content. It's you creating a post and people loving it. It could be any of those things. And you ask yourself the question, what could I make this mean? So let me give you an example. One of my clients, part of what we do, right? I don't care what action my clients take, right? They can buy any course, they can figure out any action they want. But what I care about is are they taking the action they want to be taking? And so for her, she's like, "I really admire the way you show up on Facebook. I really admire the way you post." And so we talked through the thoughts that she had about that. And so then she started practicing posting and how she shows up in social media and her own thoughts about what people think, right? That's the most fun when we don't do the things we want because of the thoughts we have about what we think people's thoughts are. I know. And so then this week she gets on the call and she's like, "Yeah, somebody booked a consult." And it was just that in and out. And then here's what we did, right? This is part of coaching, is it's cementing it into your brain. Like, tell me more. How did it happen? Where did they come from? Oh, it turns out they didn't come from social media at all. They didn't come from my email. They came from my hometown. They came from who knows where, right? And the reason to look at this is because then you get to find new thoughts and beliefs that you probably believed, but you were forgetting to believe. You guys, seriously, stop it right now and ask in your brain, what do I believe that I forget to believe? It's one of my favorite things because sometimes, right, what do I forget to believe? I forget to believe what a badass I am. I totally forget. And then someone's like, "Really? You're not sure about that?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're right." But you have things about you that you forget to believe. And so for her with this consult, what we did is we went through and we created, I have this visual of like beaches on sand, right? You have to create this foundation that goes deep into the sand so the house doesn't like blow over or whatever. Clearly, I'm not an architect. I don't know how any of that actually works. But we do this with our thoughts. We have to dig in and realize like what's the belief of it. And so for this consult, it's the belief like, yes, I had to change how I was thinking to show up. I had to be okay with feeling uncomfortable. I had to feel courageous to go do the action I wanted to take. And then look at this. Ooh, this person didn't even come from any of that. She wasn't even my friend on social media. Like the stuff I did over here didn't impact it. And so then you get to create thoughts like, clients come from anywhere. Clients can come at any minute. Literally, they're not there, or consults or whatever, and then they are. But you have to stop to create these foundations of belief, right? Because if you don't, your brain will just skip right over it. And the only difference between the person who is creating very little money, right, and the person who's creating lots of money is the amount of time that they spend in their head thinking and feeling either it's not working or it is. Because your brain on default, it's going to want to hang out in the zone. It's going to be easiest for it to feel the negative emotions, the anxiousness, the uncertainty, the the despair. That was always my go-to feeling. I was like, how do I feel? Despair. But there's just these like anxious, confused. There's these feelings that are just easy to go to. They're easy for your brain to go to. And you're going to have to force it to figure out, what else could I make this mean? And in coaching, we ask this question a lot, like in the negative, like, oh, like somebody said those words to you. What did you make that mean? And then we get to hear a whole nother level of their brain. But I want to encourage you to ask that question of your brain when amazing things happen. And it's not what did I make it mean, it's what could I make this mean? I could make this mean it's working. I could make this mean that there are for sure 20 people who want to do this work. You could make this mean that these people are waiting right now and they're waiting on you to step into the readiness of it. I just commented to another coach. She was saying how this just amazing thing happened. And I was like, yes, the floodgates were literally waiting for you to open them. Right? How often do we believe that for ourselves, though? How often do we just choose to pick it up? Because, right, like our fear is like, ooh, but what if I'm disappointed? But the conversation I had with the client today is, if you fear being disappointed, you spend all the time you could have just been happy feeling some other negative emotion. So I'm getting ready to go to dinner with my husband. It's his birthday. But I want you to ask yourself that question. What could I make this amazing thing mean? Awesome, guys. Have an amazing night.